I would say my number one step to living abundantly. I just created the pilot for my first and very first talk show. And I have to add in there at age Sexty Fun or 61. Who would have thought?
Best-selling author, abundant lifestyle designer,
Sarah Vie here. If you don't know me, I am so happy that you are watching, but I just wanted to come on here today and just share with you a little something. As you know, or maybe you don't, I just created the pilot for my first and very first talk show. And I have to add in there at age Sexty Fun or 61. Who would have thought? And this show, it is called Living Abundantly. And it's a show that teaches, if you will, the art of abundant living. And, most people think that abundance is about something on the outside of us. Completely not what the show is about. It is really about the inner frequency. And how do we feel abundant from experience? When we feel abundant, we attract abundance. We can't do it the other way around. So this show, I am so excited about this, but I wanted to share one of my, I would say my number one step to living abundantly. I feel my life now, everything that I do it with abundance. And first, it starts in your ears. The number one tip, and it may be something that you have never thought about before. It's a 4-letter word, and it starts with an F. And it's not what you're thinking.
Stop it. Get some help.
But the 4-letter word is having a different relationship with this 4-letter word. And the 4-letter word is fear. And I remember I lived with the 4-letter word of fear for the majority of my life. I was afraid, fearful of failing. I was fearful of, making mistakes. I was fearful of judgment. So basically, I was run by fear. And how about you? What is something that you are afraid of? I'm afraid of bungee jumping. I'm not going to do that. Fear can stop you from living this fulfilled life. I absolutely 1000% know that my life was controlled by fear. This isn't about kind of being positive and pretending it's not there. But my number one tip is learn how to have a different relationship with fear. Because when you do that, we learn how to not let it have this grip on our life. Because the energy of fear is what holds us back from living in fulfillment and joy and having experiences. Because I know that when I feel uncomfortable, probably heard this many times, but when you feel uncomfortable in your life, that is when we get to lean in. And that is how we get to have a different relationship with fear. Like I said, I had a fear of snakes. I had a fear of spiders. And the only way to get through that is actually be surrounded by them. I have not conquered my fear of snakes or spiders, but I have completely created this brand new energy within me that fear no longer holds me back because I allow my fear to be there. I allow myself to recognize when I'm feeling it. And what do? I lean in. Are you able to lean into your fears? What are you afraid of? Because all these illusions that we have in our minds are lies. Why are we afraid of doing these things that are out of our comfort zone? Obviously, we have to make sure that they're safe, but the majority of the things that we are afraid of on the other side is personal growth, is living a life of abundance. And so many of my guests that I have booked and that were on last episode, they are leaning into their own fears and living a life of fulfillment. I want this message to ring out as loud and as far as it possibly can, because I am the example of what happens when you lean into fear. I've had so many fearful things, fear of leaving a 32 years of marriage. I was afraid because I didn't have a relationship with money. What was I going to do without the security and this false safety of financial support from my then husband? That was probably the biggest fear that I have ever experienced, because I was a stay-at-home mom and I didn't have my own independent money. I didn't have a relationship with any kind of money, and going out on my own was a huge risk. But I knew that if I leaned into that, then what exactly my highest power was trying to lead me to would take me exactly there. And that was my first big, I mean, I'm sure I did many big things, before that, but that was the beginning of me living abundantly. I don't recommend everybody leaving a marriage, but it really helped me begin to step into this new relationship I had with fear. In the past 3 years, I was afraid to travel to Egypt, for example. And I remember just like wringing my hands. Oh my God, we catastrophized the worst case scenario. I went to Egypt. I thought about what was the worst case scenario that could actually happen. And all the fears that I had turned out to be nothing. This new opportunity was offered to me. Was I afraid to take not just the creative risk, but also the financial risk? But everything that I was afraid of never came true. That is the power that we allow fear to hold us back from living our best lives. And there's a little practice that I do, and I believe that I have shared this before, but it is a very, very powerful little tool that I use, and it's LSD. Now, I'm not talking about the drug. I do not take drugs. I do not advocate any drugs, but what is LSD? So LSD is this a little fun tool that I use. I have used it, I don't know for how long, I guess probably as long as I have been, facing fear with a completely different perspective. So what I do is listen to the words that you are listening to that is creating that sensation in your body. The fear words that I used to listen to was, oh my God, you're going to fail. Oh my God, everybody's going to judge you. Oh my God, you shouldn't do this. You're not going to be able to do that. So with meditation, I was able to listen to the language that I was telling myself. So the LSDL is listen to your inner voice. What are you saying to yourself? Because this is preventing you from stepping in. So the L is listen. The S in LSD is just stop. Like I've learned how to just kind of put my hands over my heart and just stop. Stop the negative Nelly train that stops you from moving forward, just gently, without judgment. I just take a moment and I cross my hands across my chest and I just stop. Take some breaths, just stop the momentum, the negative Nelly train that we're all very familiar with, because somehow we default back into that pattern. So allowing yourself just to stop and stop until you notice just a change, a shift in your body, in your energy, and just quiet, just stop. And then D, once you've kind of calmed that trigger down, the D is to declare and dream of what you want to experience instead. And I tell you what, that last step, I mean, they're all important, but that last step is to actually declare and dream what you want to experience instead is so freaking powerful that it will help you to step into the energy before it's even happened. So don't really take LSD. That's not good. But the LSD of listen, stop, and dream is so powerful. And it has helped me to lean into my fears, feel uncomfortable, and do it anyway. So I would love to know, what are some of your tools, or what is your relationship that you have with fear? I would love to know. Please stay tuned to all the excitement coming in with all my guests of Living Abundantly with Sarah Vie, and all that will be in the show notes. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that that was helpful. Thank you so much.